Howdy folks, I'm Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's some Reddit. Alright, before we begin, I want to tell a joke here. And I made this joke up, so you can only blame me if it's bad. Which it is. Trust me, it's very bad. So, Bob the Builder decides that he wants to take up a new profession. And he decides to take up boxing. Well, he gets into the ring and he loses his first match. Everyone said he fixed it. That's right, folks. I enjoyed that joke because I made it up. I'll laugh at my own jokes here. Hey, Amber, wasn't that funny?
Yes, so funny.
Amber's laughing. You can hear her laughing in the background.
Ha 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 ha.
Our first story is titled, Am I the Jerk for Removing Tree Roots from My Yard? Now, this one is an interesting story. So let's get started. My family and I moved into a new home this spring. We had previously lived in apartments, and now we have our first yard for our kids to play in. The neighborhood that we moved into has a lot of mature trees, and this being the first time that I've had to do my own yard work, there has been a learning curve. One of my neighbor's yards is separated from ours by a chain link fence. There is a large tree just on the other side of the fence. Some roots from the tree have spread into my yard, and some of them are growing on the surface of the ground. They are visible and above the ground quite a bit. About a month ago, my kids were running around playing, and my daughter tripped on one of the roots and fell and ended up breaking her wrist trying to catch herself. Of course, this was very upsetting to my wife and me, and she pretty much told me to do something about the roots so this didn't happen again. So I bought some tools and started tearing up the roots as best as I could. I got them out to the point where nothing is sticking above the ground anymore and filled the top in with fresh soil and grass seed. My neighbor must have noticed I did some work because he made a comment about the fresh soil. I told him that I had to remove some roots since my daughter tripped on one. He asked me what I meant by remove, and I told him I dug up a bunch and cut them out as best as I could. He got mad at me and told me I probably killed his tree. I told him that removing a few roots isn't going to hurt a tree that big, and they were creating a tripping hazard. And since they were in my yard, I did what I needed to do to remove them. He told me that there were other ways of dealing with roots like that instead of cutting them out and causing stress to the trees, and he would have gladly helped if I had asked. He said the tree is probably going to die, which means it's probably going to have to be removed, and said that a tree that large is going to cost thousands of dollars to take out. I told him that sounds ridiculously expensive. He said if the tree dies and he has to cut it down, he's going to ask me to pay for some of it because of what I did to the roots. I told him good luck with that and I'm not paying for his tree. He called me a jerk and told me the previous neighbors at least had the decency to ask for help when they didn't know what they were doing instead of causing damage to other people's property. I told my wife about it and she thinks the guy is being a jerk and agrees with me that taking a few roots from the top of the ground isn't going to hurt a tree that big. She also agrees that there's no way that we are going to pay for anything from this guy's tree. We were just making sure that our yard is safe for our kids to play in. It's not our fault his tree grew roots into our yard. Alright, OP. I think when Amber was telling me about this story, I said to myself, this sounds like an r/tree law story. If you folks haven't explored the r/tree law subreddit, I suggest you do so. It is an amusing subreddit sometimes. There are some good stories there. I can always hunt down some good stories if people want to hear them. We'll see though. If people want that, just let me know. All right. So OP, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not going to give you legal advice here, but I would definitely find a lawyer and soon because your neighbor is probably going to find a lawyer here soon too. Depending on the laws of where you live, you may very well be liable for any damages incurred on that tree. Now, I'm going to say that I don't know personally, but I think that there's a good chance that you're going to be responsible for some damages here, especially if that tree dies. And this was an extremely, irresponsible thing to do, given the fact that you cut up a bunch of roots on a tree. Trees need those roots to be stable. What happens if that tree falls over? You've cut it in such a way that it's going to fall into your neighbor's yard if it falls over and dies. So you may be inadvertently doing, if it falls onto your neighbor's house or something like that, they may be able to sue you for that. This was not a smart thing to do. I think that you really need to consult a lawyer. You need to mend fences here. Your neighbor seemed like they were a pretty reasonable person. They were just like, hey, I would have helped you. There were other ways of doing this other than, chopping up the roots. They didn't even seem to be like that mad here. They were just like, if this tree needs to be removed, I'm going to expect you to help. And you just kind of blew them off. And you and your wife both think that you're not the jerk in this situation, but I personally think that you're probably the jerk here. So what do you folks think? Do you think that he is a jerk for cutting up these tree roots, or do you think that it's his property and he deserves to do with his property as he wants? So anyhow, take care and good luck. You're the jerk. You should have told him what you were doing since it's his tree. Yes, even though the roots were on your side of the fence, it's a neighborly thing to do. And speaking as someone with a fair amount of experience with plants, depending on what kind of roots you hacked away, how many there were, and what you did to the open wounds before covering them with dirt, there's a good chance that you could kill the tree. And can you imagine if the tree did die and fell on the neighbor's house? That would be on OP. OP, don't go cutting other people's roots unless you're qualified. Your neighbor should sue you, and I think they have a good chance at winning. A little communication would go a long way here. OP didn't just kill the tree, he killed any chance at a good relationship with his next door neighbor. Good luck with that? What a rude thing to say. Good luck to OP if he ever needs help with anything. Hopping on the top comment to let people know about the r/tree law, they should have an answer for who's right or wrong on the tree side of things. Edit cross-post link here. So here are some of the comments that I found kind of the most interesting from the tree law one. Check out his post history. He's in Minnesota, which is indeed a treble damage state. He is in a bad position. In a comment, he said that 2 roots that he removed were 4 or 5 inches thick. That is a substantial root. Good luck, OP. You're gonna need it. Alright, speaking of illegal things, am I the jerk for getting angry when my mom wouldn't let me use my disabled parking badge? I'm a 19-year-old female and I have cerebral palsy, which means for me, at least, that I'm wheelchair bound. Usually my mom keeps a disabled badge in her car because it's easier, as I usually go out with my parents. I have no friends, lol. However, my boyfriend and I have wanted to go to a Thrope Park, which is a theme park in London, for a while now. In Thropes Park, they ask you to bring a disabled parking badge in order to get an accessibility pass. So yesterday evening, I asked my mom if I could have the badge for today, and the following conversation ensues. No, I need it so I can park in London on Wednesday. Me, but it's mine. You can use something else. I need to. Honestly, I can't remember most of the conversation because I got very upset, but it ended in an argument and my mom said, "Are you trying to be difficult?" Then left the room and instantly started crying. My boyfriend gave me a hug. He had come in to moderate the conversation. He said he completely understands. Was I being difficult? We did get the badge after speaking to my dad, but he added that I had really upset my mom. Was I being difficult? Am I the jerk? OP. No. No, you're not the jerk in this situation. Your mom is acting extremely entitled. This does not actually belong in r/am I the jerk, OP? This belongs in entitled parents. Your mom is being so entitled, it's insane. I just cannot believe it. She's trying to use your disabled parking badge so that she can get a better parking spot. And she rationalizes this in her head somehow as being like the appropriate thing to do. No, 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 OP, you're not the jerk here. I feel so bad for you. You're just trying to use your past to get, to accommodate your actual needs. So, yeah, I think your mom does not need that pass. Plain and simple. No, you're not the jerk. No, you're not being difficult. Your mom is being difficult. Just incredible. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk, the parking badge is for you. Your mom isn't disabled. She can't just roll around town using your badge and get the benefits and special treatment. It's not what that's for. Not the jerk, it's actually a criminal offense to use someone else's disability badge. Our next letter is titled, Am I the jerk for not paying my boyfriend's Uber prices for picking me up from work? Edit, I showed him this post and made him read the comments. He apologized. This isn't something he usually does and was out of character. I'm temporarily working somewhere else. It's £20 to get an Uber home. I use an app often enough that I get regular discounts up to 30%. My boyfriend offered to pick me up from work and I told him the price of the Uber sometimes. He got us home, it's a 30-minute ride, about 20 miles. Afterwards, he asked me to pay him. I said fine, I don't mind paying for petrol costs. He said I have to give him £20 because he went out of his ways to get me and I would have given the Uber drivers that amount anyways. He insisted that it makes no sense for me not to pay him what I would have given the Uber driver. I told him that it's different because he's my boyfriend and the Uber driver is a service. I told him I'd give him £10, which he wasn't happy about. Am I the jerk for not giving him what I would have given an Uber driver? It's not like I'd pay the price of a Starbucks coffee if my boyfriend made me a cup of coffee. Alright, OP. No, you're not the jerk in this situation. If he wanted to be paid, then he should have said something up front. He should have made it abundantly clear before giving you a ride that he expected the same amount of pay as the Uber driver. He could have approached you and said, hey, I'm kind of tight on cash. Would it be all right if you paid me what you would expect the Uber driver to be paid, or something to that effect? I think this was an extremely poor taste. I read the edit, of course, and it sounds like you two have mended fences, to borrow a phrase from the first story here. And it sounds like things are probably hopefully a little bit better and that this isn't something that he does. I would consider this a red flag. I would consider this something to look out for. But if this isn't something that he does on a regular basis, maybe it's fine. So I would just kind of keep your eye out, your ear out for other type of behavior like this and, think about it. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk, also dump him. Your boyfriend heard your vent about Uber prices, and his takeaway is, wait, I could be the one to profit here. Do you want a partner who sees you as a source of income? Not the jerk. And OP replies, that's exactly his reasoning, and I'm still baffled that he doesn't think it's a dumb thing to ask, given that I don't mind paying for petrol. Not the jerk, and consider this a red flag. And OP replies, his reasoning was so dumb because I was willing to pay him the petrol costs because obviously Uber has other costs associated with the final price. Speaking of unreasonable red flags, our next letter is titled, Am I the jerk for not wanting my fiance's grandmother, 98-year-old female, at our wedding? My fiance is a 30-year-old male and I'm a 28-year-old female, and we are getting married next month. Everything is going great, but we have a serious argument about having his grandmother at our wedding. We've agreed not to have kids at our wedding, as we want the reception to be a huge party for your adult friends and family with dancing, loud music, and an open bar. However, for precisely the same reasons we don't want kids there, I don't want his elderly grandmother at our wedding either. I said she can come to the ceremony, but not the reception. It will be extremely loud, and I want it to be a party atmosphere, and she will be extremely out of place. For context, none of my grandparents are still alive, and he still has his last living grandmother. This has caused a huge fight, since she has always dreamed about being at her grandson's wedding. He is the oldest grandchild, and she probably won't make it to the next family wedding. which is why I said that she's more than welcome at the ceremony, but she will just be too out of place at the reception. She and he both insist that she will be fine and wants to go to the party. But I just know it will inevitably lead to us dealing with her and taking care of her. And I just want to get drunk and let loose with my friends. She is now really upset and won't talk to me. And my fiance is also angry. I think I'm within my rights to make this request. I am the bride, after all. Am I the jerk? Oh, OP. Oh no, you're not the jerk at all. You should just pack your bags and leave that man, because he's clearly being unreasonable. This is the only reasonable solution, OP. Leave him. What do you folks think?
Not very much the jerk. Not what Brian said. He's. Yeah.
OP, what are you thinking here? You're trying to uninvite his 98-year-old grandmother from the reception because you're afraid you're going to have to babysit her? Surely, OP, there will be other people at the reception who are willing, more than willing, to be with the grandmother if she needs assistance. And there's a good chance that she might not want to be at the reception the whole time, so she might go home early. This is a very unreasonable request. She said she's going to be fine. He wants her there. You don't have ultimate override authority on your wedding. This should be a celebration for you both. And the fact that you're approaching this so selfishly, I think, is pretty telling. So, yeah, I'm going to have to say that you're the jerk in this situation. So, yeah, anyhow, take care and good luck. You're the jerk, not sure how you could be more of the jerk, to be honest. You're hearing the love of your life say that this is important. You're hearing someone really important to your partner say that this is important. And you're putting getting drunk ahead of that. For goodness sake, she's been a grown adult longer than you've been alive. I'm pretty sure that she can handle any tiredness and noise as she wishes. If I were your partner, I would be noticing the red flags. You're the jerk. She is not a kid. You won't have to take care of her. Honestly, this would be enough for me to call the wedding off. Get over yourself. Imagine living for 98 years, then being told your presence would ruin a party. My goodness, the woman has seen 98 years worth of parties, but this one wedding is going to be too intense for her. Get over yourself indeed. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. If you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.